Hello, welcome to New World Comics Podcast. I am your host, Buck Berlin, head honcho of the store. This is Stephanie Cerny. And with us this week is Jimmy Jackson.
Hello.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. And, for those that are, I guess, just now checking it out, each week we talk to a guest here at the store, someone who helps out, does stuff around here behind the scenes, making sure that everything works in this wonderful place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for being on.
Of course. Yeah. No, I have listened to every episode thus far, so
Ooh.
I'm excited.
What's your favorite one?
Gotta go with AD.
Okay,
You know.
yeah. 80.
What?
Yeah.
The one I wasn't on.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that one was the
Sorry.
best
Oh.
then. Yeah.
No, it had nothing to do with
you know
you.
what was the best about it? No, Stephanie.
No.
No,
I would never
we're
say
joking,
that.
we're joking.
I would never say that.
I would because I'm a
No.
jerk just to make fun of her.
Well,
but,
that's-
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
on brand.
mean it. Yeah, that's on brand. Okay, well, yeah, we're getting off track already. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name's Jimmy Jackson. I actually live fairly close to the store, so I'm in here a lot. Yeah, and I don't know. I love comics.
Well, me too.
I love comics a lot.
Why don't you tell everyone kind of what you do here?
So I help out with superhero school when my busy lifestyle allows me to. I like being a lot of the kind of weirder characters, I guess.
Like who?
Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I will say right off the bat that was a fun one because I got to come out and pretend to be different superheroes throughout the superhero school, and all the kids were like, "That's not Spider-Man." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" "Yes, I am." And they were like, "Nah, I don't think so." And then the other thing I love doing is helping you and whoever help find back issues for different customers and stuff.
You're one of the people that will brave our perfectly organized,
Yeah.
not cluttered whatsoever back
No.
room.
Yeah, the
absolutely
death
not.
trap back room.
Yeah.
It's not a death trap. It may kill me someday, but
it is. Well, we will find your body.
Yeah.
Under
Eventually.
a pile of Batman.
no,
or something.
I'm sure that at one point some of the shelves will fail and I will die that way.
It'll be quite interesting.
No, but I mean, it is one of those things where we'll buy a collection and pull out the immediate sale stuff.
Yeah.
And then have to put the other stuff back for events like Free Comic Book Day, special sales, the
course.
con.
Yeah.
The
things
Free
like
Comic
that.
Book Day 2020.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, there are people that are like, man, if only I could go back there and look.
No.
Like a
Just trust me. when I
liability
say
issue
you
right there.
You don't want to.
No, and the thing is, like, we'll clean it, we'll get it in perfect order,
Yeah.
and then just
Quickly dissolves.
Yeah.
It's like wait a second. Yesterday this was fine.
George, who's going to appear either on the next one or the one after this, has been working on that for years. Almost as long as I've owned the store.
I remember, speaking of AD, I remember one day he was like, "Man, I'm gonna do it." I was like, "Dude, let's do it. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you." And so we went back there and we spent hours, just like moving boxes and comics and all that stuff. And we got it, and we were like, "I feel great. Like there's a pathway and all this stuff." And then later in the week we came back in and he just goes, "Hey man, have you seen the back room?" I was like, "Not even gonna open the door. Not even gonna open the door." Like.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, there is method to the madness.
Yeah.
We can go back there and find stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just the recently acquired stuff, or sometimes if we have a really big superhero school, the costumes don't get put back in the exact right place. So
Yes.
it's okay. How do we do that? But no one's ever in true danger. Like there's always a clear exit. There's always
no one's ever actually going to die back there.
right. Well, I mean, I might just from my time back there. Like after
Yeah.
hours here, where I'm sorting, doing whatever needs doing back there.
That got really dark. Way to go.
I'm just saying, it's
man.
foretold in the future. 80 years from now.
80 years from now,
Yeah.
come upon New World Comics.
Yeah.
You'd be like, did you hear about the guy?
Like, yeah.
Did you hear about the guy who died in the back room?
Yeah, Buck was
Everyone's going to be on the playground at school and be like, no, for real. That
Buck
guy
was 114 and died.
It's for real. It's crazy.
80 years ago, he called it on his podcast.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, pretty much. I love it. I'm all about it.
Yeah. So now that we've lost all the listeners,
That's fine.
yep.
Now we can talk about the real stuff.
All right. So, politics and religion.
Lizard
Oh,
people.
and finances.
Let's talk about Scientology for a second.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So, yeah, we'll do a whole backroom special.
Oh man,
We'll have
a backroom video special.
everyone. Oh, that's going to sound illicit. That's we might get more listeners / viewers.
I like this.
Yeah, but no, I think we'll do a special where it's just everyone who has worked on the back room at one point or another.
That could be that's a good panel for
Over the Normal Comic-Con. Yeah,
at some point. Just
it'll be like a support group.
yeah,
It
I like
kind
that.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, but
I feel like I remember the time when I spent 9 hours working on that back room.
Really, yeah.
I have a fun story about some kids that I hired one summer. Well, I say hired. You know, they were working for comics.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so I want this really expensive comic and this and this, and I was like, okay, but I mean, you have to get all this done by a certain date, and if you don't, then you don't get it. He said, well, can I like hire my own friends? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever you want, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the kids were 15, 16, 17. So they're kind of older kids, and some were just kind of too cool, and some of them were just there to say that they were in the back of a business kind of thing, because like none of them had a real job. And then like one of the kids kept showing up each day, and like each kid would show up, and I always try to remember everyone's name, but there were so many of these kids that I just started making up names, right? And like
gosh.
on the 20th day, I was just like, I'm just going to call the kids drug names.
What?
Well,
That
just
seems good.
Well-
yeah, that's my goodness.
okay, these kids had a mouth on them.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was all right. I mean, if they're going to talk like that, you know, I'll you know, meet them on the court.
Yeah.
So one of the kids, I was like, your name's Cocaine, right?
Yeah, that's what a nickname.
Yeah. So he was the one kid who kept coming up and working, even when like the original kid stopped helping. Like he still came and still helped out. And then everyone up here just would hear me call him Cocaine. So they were like, hey, is that Cocaine kid here? Right?
Cocaine Kid.
Yeah.
Is that on DC's
His
new
real
Black
name's,
label?
his real name's Andrew.
There you go.
He's an amazing kid. Well, I say kid. He's an adult now. But
Fair enough.
yeah, like he became one of the regular helpers here at the store. And he got a federal job once, and while he was filling out the stuff, it said that he had to list his aliases. No. And they did a deep dive research, and they're like, have you ever been known as Cocaine?
No.
And it was like, oh, Buck, why would you do that to
You
me?
ruined this man's life.
No. They all thought it was hilarious.
Well, there you go.
Because
That's-
he's not the type of kid that would go out and, you know, like,
Yeah.
he's the last kid. And that's another reason that I was like, drug names for these kids. These were not the kids that would go out and do drugs.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just even funnier to them that, you know, this guy that they barely
They were
knew.
called
yeah.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just such an awesome dude. But yeah, I digress.
It happens.
Yeah, so you help out with the back room.
Yes.
Yeah.
As when I can. Yes.
Yeah, and we'll do the separate podcast special.
That'll be
about the back
fun.
room. Yeah. I'll see if we can get Andrew on.
I would love for Andrew to be on.
Yeah, and he'll do the no guys, I swear it wasn't this big of a deal. It sounds worse than it actually is.
That's great.
Yeah. But so we'll go into how long have you been reading?
So that is I guess it's been about I guess it's been about 3 years now.
Yeah.
Wow, 3 years? 2.5, 3 years? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I my boss has 2 offices, one in Oklahoma City, one in Edmond, and his one in Edmond has a lot of his personal stuff, right? And so he is a huge comic book fan. And so I would go up there and work, and one day it was like, okay, we're cleaning out each room of this office building, and there are all of these graphic novels on the shelf. We have to move it from this shelf to this shelf. Like, pretty simple, like, easy stuff. But But as we're doing it, he's like telling me like, "Oh, this series is this is so good," and I'm an avid collector of lots of things. It's just collecting is in my blood. Some call it hoarding. I call it collecting. It's fine. My girlfriend loves it. Yeah.
What's her name again? Girl Jimmy?
Her name's Kaylee.
Yeah.
Or people call her Girl Jimmy.
I guess what people don't realize about me, for the people that just kind of casually know me, I love giving out nicknames.
Yes.
And
like cocaine.
yeah,
Like
but
cocaine.
I like to say that I'm nice mean. I like to prank, have my fun. And I think that there's a certain endearment, like instant endearment, if you're a little mean to someone at first, and then you do nice things. And I always try to do super nice things for everyone, try to make sure that everyone's taken care of. But if you kind of have that spice to it, whatever,
Yeah.
It kind of means more.
I tease the people I love.
Yeah, and that's
Definitely.
and I don't necessarily do that with everyone, and there are people that I just won't do that with, and that's kind of how you know that I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
Is that it's like
your
I
secret's
never.
out.
Well,
Uh-oh.
I mean, here's the thing: it's not that big of a secret, and
I
honestly,
know.
there aren't many people that
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of.
Definitely.
So yeah,
For sure.
um,
But so going back to
going back to what you were reading and all
so
that. Yeah.
So as he's moving on stuff, I just asked him. I said, "Man, I've never read comics, but I've always been interested. I grew up watching the Batman animated series, so I was a Batman fan in theory of the animated series and like the movies.
Uh-huh.
I was a huge Batman and Robin fan. You know what? I can't defend that, but I still
Sure you can.
there's a place in my heart for that movie still. But yeah. So he told me, he was like, "Man, you should just like read some." He named off some stuff that I can't really remember, but the one that I remember him saying, because I thought it was like, that's a weird name, he said, "You should read Alan Moore Swamp Thing."
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay, no idea. I have no idea who Swamp Thing is, whatever. So all I knew is that I'd been living by New World for a while, and I'd been in here once before with another guy. That's a whole other story of that guy, but we'd come in and he'd got some stuff, and I remember thinking like, oh, there's so much stuff here. That's cool, but I don't read comics. So I came in and I was like, "Hey, I'm Jimmy. I met Buck." You were like, "Hey, I'm Buck," and I was like, pretty much. And I go, "Hey, I've heard I'm supposed to read Alan Moore Swamp Thing. What else should I read? I want to get into comics." And you were like, "Oh, great," because I feel like that's like, taking candy from a baby, basically, of like, you should read this.
Yeah.
And so you were sold out of Alan Moore Swamp Thing, but you said, "Hey, read Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing. I have the first volume of the New 52 run." You're like, "It's not as good, but it's still really, really good." And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll check it out." And I got that, and I honestly can't remember what the other thing I got was.
I think I threw you into Watchmen.
I think it was Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Watchmen.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, you and I became fast friends.
Yes.
After, like, you were in probably three or four times.
I was in
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, and then
Right at the beginning.
I remember because like I special ordered the Swamp Thing for you, and it came way faster than it normally did.
Yeah.
And then you came in like right after we'd ordered pizza or whatever, and I'd invited you to sit down with us.
Yes.
And and then we got to talking, and we're like, "Oh, you like these things?" Well, and our crazy knowledge of music.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a musician by trade. So my whole life is music, and so Buck and I will oftentimes musically spar.
Yeah. When I first got my job here, I always made sure to read comics, but I always loved music, and I would take my paychecks from here, go cash them, and then go up to FYE or Warehouse Music, whatever it was called at the time.
Yeah. So that whole collecting thing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I collect music too. It's wild.
Yeah. I have the most eclectic music collection of until anyone I've met.
Yeah. My music collection's pretty dumb.
Yeah. Well,
honestly.
and so many people think that I only like pop music.
Yeah.
I just like it because
that's a Buck Berlin myth.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I mean, I love all the other stuff. It's just so much of it is just so depressing.
Totally.
That's just give me something light most of the time.
Give me some happiness.
Yeah.
Give me some Brittany.
Oh
Some
man.
Brittany. I did just remember it was Watchmen, but also Planetary.
Ooh.
Oh,
Planetary.
nice.
And that, I will say, was one of the greatest days at the store for me. Was finally I didn't have to experience the full Planetary break between issues
Yep.
that everyone else did, but there was about a 3-month period where we could not find a Planetary Volume 4.
Right.
And so I was sitting there, and I came in, I mean, probably 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Buck, did you get Planetary Volume 4?
No.
And finally you had to like call a friend, and
Yeah,
you had to call a favor in
Yeah,
or something.
I have some other store owners in other states that I'll occasionally shake down into the, hey, do y'all have this?
Yeah.
Would you all be interested in trading this for this, or do y'all have this? I'll just buy it outright. I gotta take care of a customer. Gotta do this. And then finally, someone got one in used.
Yeah.
And they're like, "We'll just send it to you, man."
You're hurting for it.
like, well, I mean, like everyone was like, "Yeah, man, it sounds like your guy really needs this." So here you go.
I remember the day you like messaged me on Facebook or whatever, and you were like, "Hey, I got it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, you were here
good.
within 5 minutes.
Honestly, yeah. There again, that's a plus of living close to the store. Sometimes you're like, "Hey, I got this when you got the Swamp Thing omnibus."
Oh yeah, I got a really super high end Swamp Thing omnibus in, and I mean I love Swamp Thing too, and man, like any swamp creature, like I'm in. I don't know what it is, but I'm there, and I got this really nice hardcover, and I love this, but I know who's going to enjoy this a little bit more than me.
Aw.
Yeah,
So.
you sent me a picture on Facebook, and I was like, "Holy cow, that's really cool!" And then you like sent me the price, and I was like, I mean, within 2 minutes, you could hear the tires squealing around the corner. Because I was like, I gotta get this.
Well, it's really cool because they went through and recolored everything, and they fixed the art that was misshot.
Yeah,
and
they didn't find like the master. So it's basically everything Swamp Thing pre Alan Moore.
Mm-hmm.
So like from one all the way up through the saga stuff before he started writing, and it's all they didn't have any of the masters. Like I'd say masters like music, but like the original art with the actual colors. And so I forget who it was, but I think Kelly Jones on Facebook was talking about the process of they went through and like found the nicest copies they could and then tried to color match from that and had to recolor all those issues.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it's like 50 issues or 40 issues or something like that.
Yeah, and it's one of those where the love of the work really showed on the page. It's honestly one of the best restoration jobs I've seen.
It's incredible. Well, I remember the day it was me, you, Tom, and Ben. We were all standing around the table.
Yeah,
we cracked it open. It was just like, and it was just, we were all like,
it was a near religious experience.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was. I love Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
I love Swamp Thing so much.
So, but yeah, and then from there, you and I share the love of the esoteric.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I don't read very many, like, I don't know. I don't read a lot of, like, I don't know if you call them mainstream comics or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
I'm definitely more of a DC person to start off with, and then even with that, like, I read Batman because I love Tom King, and I read Justice League now because I love Scott Snyder so much. But those characters, besides Batman, they interest me, but not to a huge extent. But you give me something really weird, and I'm like, okay, I can get down with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Esoteric is a very good word.
Yeah. I have a few of those. It's from hanging out with my wife.
There you go.
Yeah. I tell everyone that she's smart and I'm clever, and then between the two of us, we can get anything done.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. So, which we'll have her on here real soon, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Possibly next time. I don't know. Her or George will be the next one, probably. But yeah, we'll get you on the Marvel comics, and you do the smart thing with the following the creators that you like, because so many people try to follow characters only, and then they get burned, and they're like, man, I don't know if I like comics anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the creative people behind it that are why you like all these things.
And there are a handful of characters that I will probably read everything that comes out. Just 'cause, like Swamp Thing. If they I don't care who's writing a new Swamp Thing series, I'm gonna read it even if it's garbage.
So, like, you're reading, Justice League Dark right now.
Yes.
Because he's in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which actually, I liked the first issue. I didn't think it was too bad.
I thought it had fun moments, but
yeah.
James Tynion does not a great storyteller make.
I feel for that man.
I mean,
He has to live in the shadow of Scott Snyder.
yeah. The best thing he ever did was his recent run on Detective. Like
I haven't read that, but I've heard it's really,
It is
really good.
honestly the most put together that he's ever been. Like he's that kid in high school that like every now and then would like look really good and have a really good day, but then like other days he'd just be kind of thrown together.
Are you wearing a trash bag?
Yeah,
or-
it's the
Yeah.
but he's still fun. But
Yeah.
it's just that, man, if you could just get your act together, you'd be amazing. You'd be a superstar.
Yeah, I really love certain creators. I mean, as a collector, I'm also a completist, which that's tough. Like I own everything that Scott Snyder's ever written,
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, like,
love notes to his wife.
well, no,
That's
but,
weird. God,
but like,
how did you get those?
so I told that someone the other day, and
eBay.
they were like, exactly, right, exactly. I'm sure they're there. Someone was like, "Do you own Iron Man Noir?" And I was like, "Yes." Get out of my face about it. Because don't try to trip me up, because I love Scott Snyder.
Now, riddle me this.
Okay.
You own all of it. Have you read all of it?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good for me because most of his things are like short, like 10 issues.
And he does. He's kind of the master of the short story anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I would almost say I'd say Tom King trumps that, but
I was gonna say him and Tom King,
Yeah.
who is another one of my favorite creators.
Yeah.
Definitely those two guys are. They can tell. Besides Superman Unchained, they
Yeah.
can tell really. They can tell really good short. The whole Tom King 12-issue series that he's been doing. I mean,
the Mr. Miracle, yeah.
Mr. Miracle.
The
yeah.
Visions. Yeah.
Which is amazing. I mean,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah, and
just
Mr.
had
Miracle, yeah, showed the.
Mr. Miracle.
Yep.
Is the one he's currently writing. There's another one called Sheriff of Babylon.
Yep.
Which is really good, and then the Omega Men, which is also pretty dang cool.
Yeah. Which at first, I read that and I just didn't really click.
Yeah,
And when I went back and read it, it was what a fool I was.
yeah. I need to reread it because I liked it, but I didn't quite get it.
I didn't realize what a great creator he was. But Grayson was
that is the one thing I have not read by him.
okay. So the whole premise behind the book is that during Forever Evil, on like every camera in the world and like any way that anyone could consume any kind of like visual medium, Dick Grayson gets outed as Nightwing. Like his identity is revealed to the world. Like everyone knows. Like even people that don't really care know that Dick Grayson is Nightwing. So. DC is like, okay, well, I guess he can't be Nightwing anymore. So let's take this guy and make him a super spy.
Makes sense.
Let's take the now most famous person in the world,
Yeah.
make him a spy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be
It's very
secret.
logical.
You don't have to be secret to be a spy.
What is
so.
wrong with you guys? So yeah, Tom King, who used to work in the CIA,
Weirdly enough.
yeah, wrote this title, and it was weirdly good. It was I want to hate this book, but I love it. It's
Yeah.
just so good.
I need to read it for
Yeah,
sure.
and now it's I see why. It's because he was doing it.
Yeah, and his now, dare I say, legendary Batman run that we're halfway through.
Which it's so weird to think that like the Scott Snyder run of Batman, we were saying, it hasn't been that good.
As I have
yeah,
a trade here.
The volume 3, yeah,
which is my favorite.
yeah. It as it was happening, I was just so ready to say that this is easily the best Batman we're going to see in the next 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it ends, and then the new run begins, it's the, oh, how wrong I was. Like,
Yeah.
it's good, but like the new stuff is great.
Man, have you been reading it, Stephanie?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So when I got into comics, and I, of course, growing up as Batman animated series, I was like, oh, I want to read a Batman comic, and you were like, just read Quarter Hours, go from there, you're gonna love it. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. It's another thing that got me into Scott Snyder. But yeah, I would assume, and I haven't been reading comics for that long, but I would assume after you have a huge, amazing run on a character, you bring it down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it has to go down in quality because it's not. But Tom King was like, never mind, and like just ramped it back up, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's so good, and I'm terrified for when his run ends, what Batman's gonna be, and
It's crazy to think that now Tom King has done just about as many issues as Scott Snyder did.
yeah, and he's only halfway done.
Yeah.
I think he says he's gonna go to 103.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, so he's trying to do the Fantastic Four trick.
yeah. I
Yeah, and for those that don't know,
That's interesting.
the most legendary team on a comic was 103 issues, and it was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and that was like the point of, okay, that's the most issues that anyone has worked
Yeah.
together with anyone. But it's been beaten since by Bendis and Bagley on Spider-Man, or Ultimate Spider-Man.
yeah.
But there's still that 103.
Yeah.
Like,
I think. Well, he didn't write the Button issues.
Did he not?
No, I believe someone else wrote those.
I thought that he co-wrote with them.
Maybe co-wrote.
Yeah, and
Well,
I think by
maybe
co-wrote he probably wrote the Batman ones. And then
Yeah. Well, yeah. But
Josh Williamson. Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, he. I've listened to some interviews where he said he's going to 103, and that's why he was so. We don't have to talk about really issue 50. I know it was a big deal.
Yeah, sure we do. Which honestly, for those that haven't read it, it's one of the best Batman issues.
It
of all time.
It takes, as someone who doesn't, I'm not really into a lot of the mainstream. It takes a mainstream character that I love, Batman, and it really is like a, hey, let's celebrate this character and the love between these two Batman and Catwoman characters, like their history together.
And it was so well done with the both of them. With this Batman being Rebirth, which is post 52, which wiped everything and reset
Yeah.
everything, but then it didn't, and
This is almost
Here
like
we
it's almost like a look behind the curtain and being like, guys, continuity, forget it.
Well,
Like,
it's
we're not
the-
talking about
it's
that
the-
right now.
It all matters because Batman remembers their first meeting as one of the first meetings, as like the actual first meeting
Yeah.
in Detective, and then Catwoman remembers like her Silver Age
yeah.
meeting. So it's
Yeah.
this nice like, oh,
And it's
you know.
yeah, it's the perfect way to do pinups too.
Yeah.
Because if you had the story that is, I don't know, 20 pages, and then you had like 20 pages of pinups, you finish the story and go, okay, cool. You
yeah,
know,
and
then
they're,
you look at them,
they're
but
they're making use of all of these wonderful like one-page pinups that help tell the story
yeah,
just based on this note that they wrote to each other.
totally. But
And yeah.
it's incredible, but that issue was spoiled by the New York Times the Sunday before it came out,
Yeah.
which was the big controversy, and Tom King was not happy.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
It was
so
so
mad.
disappointing.
Yeah.
I know, and he was so mad, and then I listened to a bunch of interviews after it got spoiled, and honestly, I think he was more sad than mad.
Yeah.
When you hear him talk about it, and just like, I was just so, I was so distraught of like, this is not the end of my run. He said, guys, we're only halfway through, which is so exciting to me because
Oh yeah.
the stuff we've gotten, the couple issues past issue 50 have been really fun and really cool.
Well, and what I was looking forward to most was seeing what he would do with Batman and Catwoman's marriage, because in Mr. Miracle, which have
yes,
yeah,
right here, Mr.
yeah,
Miracle.
right there, which I think that's the
This is the
28th print,
the 28th pressing. Yeah.
85th print. Yeah, this thing is amazing. This has honestly one of the best representations of marriage
Yeah.
in
Well,
a book. Like it's the truest of relationship. Like when you see a couple
yes.
have that back and forth.
what it is more than anything, it's one of my favorite things that storytellers can do is it is a superhero comic, yes, but it is absolutely a marriage drama, family drama.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, but they're also superheroes.
Yeah, and
it's like-
they're arguing about what are they going to do when they redecorate and remodel.
Yeah, totally.
And then,
it's like,
Oh, who's going to watch the kids? Who's going to...
exactly. I mean,
And it's just so wonderful.
No spoilers, but the latest issue dealt with something very heavy, but also did it in a way that was like, it was all about planning a birthday party, basically. And it was like, wow.
It could have been the darkest issue of all comics of all time.
Honestly could have.
And it was that's sweetly refreshing, and I feel really bad.
And Tom King...
But good?
Yeah, Tom King, it's so good.
Yeah.
Everyone should be reading Mr. Miracle.
Yeah,
have you been...
Yes. That's what I really liked about Vision, too. Like, I really liked that from Vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vision, I bought the hardcover and read it in like a day because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, Stephanie came in and was like, can you believe what his wife did?
Yeah, and it's like, you're talking about what? Like,
well, and at the time, I hadn't got to it yet. So she was telling me, and I was like, what did she do? And she was like, it was, the second issue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, this is one of those spoilers that's probably going to make people read it.
It was so...
kills a big character.
Yeah.
And who would have thought Vision would have, first off, this amazing book?
Yeah. Well, and he made himself a family.
Yes, which is what?
Yeah.
And then such a wonderful family. That's such an all-American family.
Yes.
Too.
Which honestly, the premise of the Vision is how a comic writer's like, I don't want to write the Vision in my Avengers series, so I'm going to send him away. And then Tom King took that. I mean, not really, but that's he made a family and he's gone. Now we don't have to deal with him anymore. But Tom King was like, no, I'm gonna tell a family drama. He actually calls this the Vision. Was it Sheriff of Babylon and the Omega Men, his trilogy of bad intentions, of good intentions.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it's people who have really good intentions and everything goes wrong.
Interesting.
And I
can see that, especially with the Omega Men. Yeah,
yeah, and same with Sheriff of Babylon. I mean, it's all like, he was like, I never wanted to write myself into a corner, but then I realized I'm just writing a bunch of characters that really want to do good and really can't.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so much fun to see him like there are a lot of writers that don't want to put in the work, but he will write himself into a corner, and it's okay, where do I go at? He won't try to backtrack or undo. Yeah,
I mean, and that's him talking about these are some volumes from his Batman run. Show the camera. Ooh. Read it. It's really good. He in some of those interviews he was talking about how he approached his 100-issue Batman run like a 12-issue series.
Oh, really?
Where he said, no, I had it all planned out, and so this midpoint is the midpoint. It's not like we're getting to here, and then I'm going to figure out where we're going next, and then all that stuff. And so I really enjoy his way of thinking of writing and creating.
Fair enough. I mean, we could talk Tom King ad nauseum, which we kind of have.
Yeah, sorry, everyone. No one's listening.
Yeah, but which is real funny because I think your probably favorite character besides Swamp Thing is Moon Knight.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Moon Knight is. You talk about the weird and the out there and the crazy.
Yeah.
Moon Knight is He's definitely top 3. Swamp Thing, Moon Knight, and a character named Cave Carson that no one knows about.
I hear he has a cybernetic eye.
Yeah, I think we know about Cave Carson.
Yeah. Well, of course, but I don't. When I tell people that, they're like, "Who's your favorite comic book character?" People are like, "Who's Cave?"
Which it reminds me of a really funny story from Free Comic Book Day when you and your girlfriend came in, and I was so excited when I found out that she liked the same type of books I liked.
Yes, she does.
Because I could just recommend all of the really weird, awesome books.
Honestly, whenever we come, she likes to read comics, but she doesn't come in on a regular basis. But when there's a big event, she's like, "Well, I want to get something." I was like, Kaylee, you're just gonna ask Stephanie. Just go ask her.
It was so exciting. Number one, that she was a girl.
Yeah.
And I could just be like, oh my God, let me tell you about all these awesome books I like, because I don't know. Sometimes the guys are just like, whatever,
Yeah, no,
What-
she
you know.
and she takes all of your advice to heart.
And then like
I
when
have to
you
read this now.
yeah, when you came in and you're like, oh, she really loves, like I think like I told her to read Beauty.
Oh, she loved Beauty.
Oh, yeah.
Totally freaked out
Yeah,
about it.
that's one of those books that I got because Image had some sort of crazy sale, and I was like, oh, I'll get that. That looks weird. Wait, it's an STD that makes you beautiful but kills you
Yeah.
in like a year? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
you can be
super crazy.
beautiful and die in a year, or you can not have
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, and then I was like, Stephanie, everybody read this book. Oh, my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I think that we need to pull a prank, but I guess we shouldn't be announcing that.
No.
We just need to make sure she doesn't listen to this one. Just tell her that it went really bad.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
So
That's what she's expecting anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure,
yeah, I'll have Stephanie just recommend like the worst. Like, hey, here's
the crazy,
Yeah.
weirdest.
here's Jim Lee's Union
Oh my god.
Image. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
What is- was
sorry,
it-
Union fans out
Yeah.
there. I
Yeah.
apologize to all
She'll be
five
like,
of
I
you.
don't know about
Yeah.
this.
She's like, hey, this is really not great.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
We'll just
I don't
give her a
know.
whole set, and then
Yeah.
then she'll bring it back, and we'll no. Here you go. Here's
Yeah,
what you
here's
really
something
want.
better.
Yeah.
But yes, Moon Knight. This is the first. Just to bring it back.
Yeah.
This is the first volume of Jeff Lemire's run,
Mm-hmm.
which is not the latest run, but the run before. Which is the first. This is actually the first issues I read of Moon Knight. I'd found them for really cheap and was like, these look weird. I'm gonna just from that cover alone.
Yeah.
I was
This
like,
looks weird. I should buy it.
I should probably buy this. This is right up my alley. And then freaked out, and then came in and was like, hey, give me everything you have, Moon Knight.
Yep.
And so yeah, it is. If people don't know, Moon Knight, his whole thing is he is a vessel for the Egyptian god Khonshu,
Yeah.
who saved his life after he was dying, and then he also has split personality or dissociative identity disorder.
Yes.
So he has all these different personalities who have their own lives, and one's a taxi driver, and one is a millionaire, and one is a whatever, and so it is a lot of writers can really play with that. And then
Yeah.
Warren Ellis had him in his Secret Avengers and introduced a new identity called Mr. Knight, which is
I think that's going to be what we see in the beginning of the cinematic.
yes.
You know, whenever we see him, in other mediums.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It hurts sometimes. So I watch those Netflix shows. There's a scene in The Punisher where he's in a diner, and it's called Good Time Diner or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But when they first show it, it just says the sign is like covered up. And it says G Diner, and there's a famous Gina's Diner in Moon Knight, and I was like, I was like screaming. I was like, and then it moves. It was like Good Time Diner. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Like,
Yeah.
so someday,
I think they're keeping him in their back pocket.
I hope so.
I think that he is their ace in the hole.
They need to be able to do a really gritty,
Well, sure,
really
but
gritty show.
like
or movie
whenever
with him.
Daredevil and Luke Cage and all them run out of steam, he is definitely going to spearhead the
the phase 2, so to say.
phase 2. Yeah,
I hope so, man. I'm
it'd be really funny if they all just build up to a small cameo in an Avengers movie.
at this point, I don't know if I'd be that upset. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's Moon Knight. Yeah.
Well, and so Jeff Lemire's doing that. Now he's also doing
Yes. So he writes like every book or something.
Yeah.
There's certain creators, like for instance Tom King. He can write like a couple at a time and be really good. And then you have people like Bendis and Lemire who can write. They're like, I'm writing 17 books at this time, and I'm like, how are you doing that?
And Jeff Lemire is one of those where I tell everyone that not everything he does is good.
yeah.
But most of the time it's pretty okay. But when he's good, he is on.
And both
And-
Moon Knight and
The Terrifics.
The Terrifics, which everyone should be reading too. It's terrific, you could say. Yeah, so it's basically, it's got that fold out front. It's what is it, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, Plastic Man, and I forget her name.
Phantom Girl.
Phantom Girl,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
They're-
from the lead-in superheroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're DC's new Fantastic Four, for lack of a
Essentially.
yeah.
Well, because
I'd heard rumor that he was working Old Man Logan over at Marvel and really wanted to do Fantastic Four, and there was the moratorium on Fantastic Four at the time, and they're like, you can't do this. You're not going to. So,
Which is about to end.
yeah, we'll get to that next. But he got fed up with it and went over to DC and said, "Hey, I want to write the Fantastic Four."
and
They're like, "What do you mean?"
Wait a second.
Yeah, and then he pitched that and they okayed it. So.
yeah, it's really honestly, it's what the Challenger should be.
Oh, it should be. And Challenge.
And the Challengers.
So not good
Hey,
right
shout out to Scott Snyder. He's my dude, but
I'm
sometimes he
pretty
co-writes with people.
I'm pretty sure that James Tynion actually wrote it, and he's just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
stamp my name on it."
Yeah,
But
it's okay.
that's
Challengers is okay,
That's generous.
and yep, it's okay. And Terrifics is absolutely incredible. It's terrific. Yes.
But yeah, back to what Stephanie was saying. Yeah, this week, the new Fantastic Four series comes back out.
Yes.
Which, oh my god,
It's been a long time
it
waiting.
has, and
How
it's
long? I mean,
it's been
how long has it
I don't
been?
know, at least 3 years.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
thinking around
Yeah.
3 years.
Is that the
This has
longest-
been ridiculous.
Is it the longest break it's ever had since it started?
Yes. Yeah,
By
definitely.
far?
Yeah, by
And,
far.
and why? Like,
but-
I'm really out of the loop. Like, why? Is it because
Speculation-
of the movie?
yeah, speculation. It was because of the Fox deal.
Yeah, the rights.
Yeah. That the head of Marvel was just really upset that Fantastic Four wasn't making any kind of money. That the movies didn't boost any of the comic sales, and they were just kind of hemorrhaging money out towards Fox. Like any new characters that got made instantly got reverted to Fox rights or whoever was
Wow.
owning the rights, that kind of thing. So they killed it. And it's really funny to hear all these people that are like, "Man, I really missed the Fantastic Four. I'm just dying for a Fantastic." It's
And you're like,
you all didn't read it way back when.
you're like, where were you?
Yeah, where were you?
All the years I had to
Yeah.
suffer.
But yeah, Dan Slott's writing it, and
Which,
I couldn't be more
Yes.
excited. Yeah, he did the Silver Surfer. That
Yeah.
I can't recommend high enough. He wrote Spider-Man for 10 years. He wrote a lot of things on Twitter that everyone should ignore.
hashtag James Gunn.
We'll save that for Nerds to Men.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, we implore everyone to not go into Dan Slott's Twitter. He apparently is super mean to his fans, even.
Man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I understand, like, some comic fans just don't know when
there's-
not
yeah.
say mean things. Like they're saying things, and he didn't know what the inflection is or the
Yeah.
information.
There are certain fandoms that can go too far.
Right, and he just treats any kind of negative as like this is an attack.
Yeah.
So he'll just go after everyone. Like I could do the hey, that issue wasn't so great, but everything else you wrote was pretty amazing. What do you think about this issue? Did this? And he was like, oh, so you hate all my work?
Yeah, and you're like, I
Is
didn't say
is that one issue? What happened with this? And no, you hate all my work.
Yeah.
So I recommend everyone separate the artist from their work.
that. Yes, as much as you can.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a Beatles fan, you have to. But we won't get into that one either.
That's another conversation.
Yep. Oh man,
We could do a whole music podcast.
we could,
Man.
couldn't we? But we won't.
a nerdy music podcast.
No one would listen.
I would.
Anyway, that's a whole other can of worms. Anyway, we'll get back on track and get close to wrapping this thing up.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to talk about is your superhero school involvement.
Yes.
I convinced you to be part of it because I said, "Hey, eventually we'll make you Moon Knight." And you're like, "Yes."
Yeah, you're like, eventually we're going to do a big Moon Knight, which I feel like we're still in pre-production for our
Right.
real big, like we did a really cool one.
Yeah, but it wasn't the Moon Knight costume that I wanted to make.
Yeah, I think we both got to a point where like we have to have it done by this day. You know
Right.
what? This is going to be cool. This is going to work. And I think we both were like, we have ideas.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles ended up taking up most of the time.
Which
and,
I mean listen, Ninja Turtles are way bigger than Moon Knight, I'm sure. So like, but there is a Moon Knight costume that is going to be made that is going to be just incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had told me, you were like, hey, like you can be Moon Knight eventually.
Yeah, and I said, how's this? We'll start you off on something super easy. We'll have you play Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Because, it was an Avengers Day, and we were doing all the different groups, and I needed a Hulk, but I didn't have the time and wherewithal to make a big Hulk costume.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to paint Dre green again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So I was like, oh, hey, Jimmy, just show up. I have some purple pants for you, and we'll tear up a white shirt.
Literally that easy.
And, we have a store, in back, we have a storage of various colored shirts and things like that. And the only white shirt that we could find that fit you was for, like, some sexy anime site that is gone to find. Like, it was one of those.
It was like a free giveaway shirt someone had given you,
it's
or
a
someone.
Company that, it was the, like, we probably got it in the mail or whatever. And we had to. Because the Hulk shirt had to be ripped and distressed and all this, but we had to essentially cut all the logo off of it.
Cover it. It was very strategic in the cutting of the shirt.
Yeah, it was that we're going to cut her out of this,
yes.
and those pieces of her out of this.
Yeah, so you were like, be Bruce Banner,
and you're like, I don't know how to do that. I was like,
didn't we like kind of fray the pants on the bottom?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they fit, but not real well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of perfect for it.
Yeah.
It was, and we had to give you a rope belt, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do believe so.
But yeah, and you're like, how do I play it? I was like, just act hungover. Cause
I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah. Well, and, didn't you have like a gig the night before?
Probably.
Or something like
yeah,
that?
I was probably out late.
And you came in and were like, I kind of wanted to call in for this because I didn't really sleep. I was like, perfect.
You're like, just
use that.
be annoyed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just be nice to certain people, and other people will just get on your nerves. Here are the people that are here. Here's who gets on your nerves.
Yeah.
Anytime Iron Man talks to you, just,
Yeah. And so I try to like Hulk out, but obviously we have the power dampener.
Yeah.
And so it was all that. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then you were like, so those lesser known characters had a lot of fun.
Pretty much, yeah. So I another one. I've been in a few, and so the Bill and Ted with flowers.
That was one of my
Because
favorites.
It was a lot of fun because I feel like everyone obviously is like doing, like, they have their moment, right? They have their own little skit. Like, I remember the first one I ever came to was one where Cassidy sang as Richter.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, for Xmas,
And I was like, oh, this is incredible. Like, so I knew everyone had their own like moment of like, this is what I'm doing. This is like my time to shine. So being Bill and Ted on Doctor Who Day, we would come out and we had like 3 or 4 sketches. And so we would literally just go in the back and be like, okay, then we're going to do this next. We're going to do this next. And we got to like really brainstorm and come up with ideas together, which was incredible. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And that was the same. I really loved the tryouts for the what was it, the
Legion
Justice
of
League-
Super
or- oh,
Villains.
the Legion of Super
Yeah,
Villains,
Legion
or
of Doom, yeah.
Legion of Doom tryouts, because I got to be Ryan Seacrest at Deathstroke as Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah,
which was,
you were hosting it essentially.
yeah, so I treated it literally like American Idol.
Yeah.
Like, came out and did the whole hey like thing.
It was probably the kids' like favorite one that we've done. Just because like it was the most informative, and we got to play with a lot of character aspects instead of just telling the kids, "Hey, Dr. Polaris has the split personalities. Here are the different aspects of them." This kid this character over here is a megalomaniac, and this character is kind of a shy character. It's one thing to like, well, I'm just kind of shy.
Yeah.
And then to show it, like it was
that was a lot of fun. I love all of them, but the ones that are like sketched out almost are like because it's something that, like, if this was a public access TV show, I would watch it. You know what I mean? Like, this is so crazy. This is awesome.
And we're working more towards that. Like next year, we're definitely going to do a Godzilla Day. So which you heard it here first.
Oh no!
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I got the wife more or less on board. You know,
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I told her that it was going to be mostly puppets and people in suits and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. She said, "Oh my God, puppets!" You say? I was like, "Yes."
Puppets. Well, and
So-
that's like my, I have a dream. I'll put it out in the universe on film, so we have to do it. But one of maybe my favorite comic book character that I own every appearance of is Cave Carson.
Yeah, which I have a plan for him.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've talked about that as well. But getting to be Cave Carson, is like, that'd be really fun. But it's
Yeah.
also a character that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Young Animal series has done a lot to kind of boost his popularity.
Yeah.
That's how I learned of him. But like, you go back and read that older stuff, and even that older stuff is kind of like, you really don't have an identity, or
Right.
like, it's a lot of like, oh, you're in like 3 Wonder Woman issues for whatever reason. And,
Yeah,
and so there is the characters that don't have a whole lot of quote unquote identity. It's fun because you can kind of morph them into what you need for the group you're working with.
Yeah.
So it's like, I really, really enjoy that.
yeah. I think my favorite that you did was Mr. Fear in Daredevil Day.
Oh
Because
no!
Daredevil Day was just for those that haven't really looked into it. Daredevil has the worst rogues gallery.
Yeah.
Like he has two or three of the coolest villains, like Kingpin, Bullseye, and then Elektra are like some of the best in all of comics. And then he has like the Matador and who is Eddie? The Masked Marauder.
Mass Marauder.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then the
gosh.
Stilt Man and
Oh my gosh!
Mr. Fear.
Mr. Fear.
Who
Yeah.
like he's like a low end scarecrow. Like he has a 10-foot radius of fear gas.
He's the wimpiest.
Yeah.
It is a
You-
joke. Like,
you
no
have
one wrote
to-
him seriously, right? Like, he has to be a joke.
No, yeah.
They wrote him seriously.
Yeah, and you have to be like in almost direct contact for all of the stuff to work, and
Yeah.
it's just so bad.
But we had this big purple
Hood,
hood cloak
yeah.
thing that was so, and it worked perfectly because as soon as I walked out, it fell off, and so I was like, "Ha ha!" Like, put it back on and like jumped out, like, which was absolutely ridiculous. I think a lot of the kids really liked that day too.
Yeah, well, because we were just kind of instead of like, no kids, all this stuff is cool. It was just no, here you go, and we played with the here's Daredevil trying to tell his story,
Yeah.
and each time a villain would show up trying to best
Yes.
him. Yeah, and yeah, that's the day that everyone fought me over the death of Elektra.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, you can't kill someone in front of kids. I said, watch me.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to kill someone kid-friendly style. Watch this.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It was years in the making.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I remember the first year we refused to have Elektra on just because, it was but she kills people. We can't have Elektra. Then it was no, the kids
Yeah.
kids understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was happy to be a part of that.
Yeah.
The monumental day of Daredevil.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think that more or less wraps this up. We got a minor store story in there. We got
Yeah.
talking
I will
about
say
comics. Yeah.
I'll say another store. One of my favorite things that
Yeah.
hasn't been around in the last couple months, but every time I come in, me and Ben almost fight.
Oh, well.
We always tell each other we're gonna fight each other, and then it never happens because one of us is tired or we're not feeling like it. So one day
He lives a hard life.
he
Yeah.
does. One day we're gonna get to that fisticuff. It's gonna be glorious.
This will be one of those ongoing things. But one of these future podcasts we'll be having Ben on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing the gauntlet down.
Okay.
If Ben wants to fight, I'm here. I'm available.
Okay. Well, maybe
Unless I'm too tired.
maybe it'll be the backroom special or.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's. Oh no, we can't say
Oh,
that.
no.
That's not.
yeah.
Ben
Okay.
just put on an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he wins. He wins. So
Ben, do you want to come on over here for the? Oh, yeah. That was the voice of Ben.
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap that up. thanks for being here, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. Stephanie, thanks again.
Aw.
And special thanks to Brad Reed, who I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast as the voice
No
of God.
blessings for you today. but
Oh, no.
None.
Brad Reed runs the Nerds to Men podcast. So if you even remotely like this one, his is way better. Everyone go subscribe, like the Facebook page.
Tell Cameo that I run it.
Yeah, tell Cameo that he runs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a better dancer, and
And he has all his hair.
well, I mean, listen, we don't know if that's fake or not.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, no. Wow, we just love to ramble here. Thank you all so much for listening. Sorry for all of our shortcomings, and listen to us next week on the New World Comics Podcast.